Okay, good evening, everyone. We are on the record. Today is Wednesday, the 13th day of April in the year 2022. This is a regular meeting of the Jersey City Municipal Council. We had a scheduled 6 p.m. start. The clock on my cell phone is showing 6:03 p.m. May I have a roll call for the commencement of this meeting? Councilperson Ridley.
Here.
Councilperson Prinzary.
Present.
Councilperson Baggiano.
Here.
Councilperson Saleh.
Here.
Councilperson Solomon.
Here.
Councilperson Gilmore.
Here.
Councilperson DeGise.
Here.
And Council President Pro Temp Rivera.
Here.
Council President Waterman will be out for the entirety of the meeting. So we have 8 council members in attendance at 6:03 p.m. Can we kindly rise for a moment of silence, please?
That's all right. Let it fall down.
Easy for you to say.
It's falling this way. So don't worry. Yeah,
Back to the moment of silence. Thank you very much. Kindly remain standing as we salute the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much. On behalf of Council President Waterman, in accordance, and also Council President Pro Temp Rivera, in accordance with the New Jersey Public Laws of 1975, Chapter 231, the Open Public Meetings Act, also known as the Sunshine Law. Adequate notice of this meeting has been provided by the posting on the bulletin board of the first floor of City Hall, the annual notice, which is the schedule of meetings and caucuses of the Municipal Council for the calendar year 2022, and filed in the office of the City Clerk on Thursday, October 28th, 2021. In addition, at its time of its preparation, the agenda of this meeting was similarly disseminated on Friday, April 8th, 2022 at 4 p.m. to the Municipal Council, Mayor, Business Administrator, Corporation Council, and local newspapers, and posted on the city's website so I can certify as to our total compliance with the Sunshine Law. Okay, council members, before we move on to our regular order of business, as discussed at the caucus, we have 2 late items to be added to the agenda. May I have a motion to add items 3.6, City Ordinance 22-041, and item 10.45, Resolution 22-292?
Motion.
Second.
Motion made by Council President Pro Temp Rivera, seconded by Councilperson Prinzary. On the motion to add items 3.6, City Ordinance 22-041, and item 10.45, Resolution 22-292, Councilperson Ridley.
Aye.
Councilperson Prinzary.
Aye.
Councilperson Baggiano. Councilperson Saleh.
Aye.
Councilperson Solomon.
Aye.
Councilperson Gilmore.
Aye.
Councilperson DeGise.
Aye.
And Council President Pro Temp Rivera.
Aye.
Motion carries 8-0, with Council President Waterman absent. Okay. On to our first reading ordinances. Item 3.1, City Ordinance 22-036, an ordinance authorizing the City of Jersey City to purchase from the State of New Jersey Department of Transportation real property known as Parcel 42B on NJDOT maps, also known as the State Department of Transportation, New Jersey Department of Transportation maps, also known as Block 1912, Lot P4 on the city's former tax map in connection with the city's construction of Fairmont Square Park at the intersection of Fairmont Avenue, Storms Avenue, Summit Avenue, and Jewett Avenue. Item 3.2, City Ordinance 22-037 is an ordinance authorizing the acquisition by purchase or condemnation of Block 3702, Lot 22, also known as 117 Hutton Street, for the construction of a new police precinct. Item 3.3, City Ordinance 22-038 is an ordinance authorizing the acquisition by purchase or condemnation of Block 3702, Lot 39, also known as 18 Sherman Place, for the construction of a new police precinct. Item 3.4, City Ordinance 22-039, an ordinance authorizing the acquisition by purchase or condemnation of Block 26101, Lot 5, also known as 1 West Side Avenue, for the construction of a new police precinct. Item 3.5, City Ordinance 22-040, is an ordinance amending Chapter 3, Administration of Government, to restructure and add various departments in the City of Jersey City. And last but not least, item 3.6, City Ordinance 22-041, is an ordinance amending Chapter 84 of the Jersey City Code to regulate the sale of adult use cannabinoids, to amend Chapter 316 of the City Code to provide the registration of smoke shops. Council members, I'm going to be taking a vote on items 3.1 through 3.6. Councilperson Ridley.
Aye for introduction.
Councilperson Prinzary.
Aye for introduction.
Councilperson Baggiano.
No on 2, 3.2, 3.3, 3.4, and 3.5. We don't need any new precincts. We need to take care of the ones we have. And 3.5, I got this afternoon, about 20 pages. And I understand we're having a closed session on that because there's a lot of complaints from the workers of the city. So yes on 3.1 and 3.6.
Okay. Councilperson Saleh.
Aye for introduction.
Councilperson Solomon.
Aye for introduction.
Councilperson Gilmore.
Aye for introduction.
Councilperson DeGise.
Aye for introduction.
And Council President Pro Temp Rivera.
Aye for introduction.
Okay, if you allow me to recap. Item 3.1 is introduced 8-0 with Council President Waterman absent. Item 3.2 is introduced 7-1 with Councilperson Baggiano voting no and Council President Waterman absent. Item 3.3 is introduced 7-1 with Councilperson Baggiano voting no and Council President Waterman absent. Item 3.3 is introduced 7-1 with Councilperson Baggiano voting no and Council President Waterman absent. Item 3.4 is also introduced 7-1 with Councilperson Baggiano voting no and Council President Waterman absent. And item 3.5 is also introduced 7-1 with Councilperson Baggiano voting no and Council President Waterman absent. And last, item 3.6 is introduced 8-0 with Councilperson Waterman absent. Okay, on to our second reading ordinance, which is item 4.1, City Ordinance 22-024, an ordinance of the Municipal Council of the City of Jersey City adopting amendments to the Hospice Cove Station Redevelopment Plan to alter the regulating plan maps and street sections, as well as the intensity summary tables of the West Side Neighborhood District. This is a public hearing on this ordinance. Any member of the public wishing to be heard, please come up to the podium and state your name for the record.
Motion.
Motion to close the public hearing on City Ordinance 22-024 was made by Council President Pro Temp Rivera. May I have a second?
Second.
Second made by Councilperson Ridley. To close the public hearing on City Ordinance 22-024, Councilperson Ridley.
Aye.
Councilperson Prinzary.
Aye.
Councilperson Baggiano. We're closing the public hearing. Councilperson Saleh.
Aye.
Councilperson Solomon.
Aye.
Councilperson Gilmore.
Aye.
Councilperson DeGise.
Aye.
And Council President Pro Temp Rivera.
Aye.
Motion carries 8-0 with to close the public hearing on City Ordinance 22-024 with Council President Waterman absent. As discussed at the caucus, council members, I believe we're going to have a motion to amend City Ordinance 22-024. Councilperson Solomon, would you like to?
Do you want to do the motion, or just do you want to address Councilman Boggiano's questions first?
Oh, sorry, yeah. I'm sorry, Councilman Boggiano. You had a question?
4.1, right? I was asked by the people downtown, I just spoke to the, I was approached by the people downtown, and I asked Mr. Vertibello about this. They want to know is the right-of-way for the light rail still in effect down there?
I've had the opportunity to discuss it with my client. He can address that question.
If you can just state your name for the record first. Robert?
Robert Vertibello from Connell Foley.
Thank you. And your name, sir?
It's Abram Napperstack with GNS Investors. So in terms of the light rail, there is the potential 15-foot right-of-way on the northern edge of the embankment that would extend across and could be accepted on the corner of 6th and Marin. So there's a reservation for a 15-foot light rail connection and a 15-foot pedestrian connection.
Okay, that's what the people wanted to know.
Yeah, and we coordinated it with the plan that Albanese has for the embankment.
Okay.
I got it. I got it for you. Yeah. Thanks so much. Okay. Okay, so council members, as discussed at the caucus, I believe we're going to have a motion to amend City Ordinance 22-024. Councilperson Solomon?
Yes, I will make the motion.
Second.
So the motion was made by Councilperson Solomon, and a second was made by Council President Pro Temp Rivera.
Yep.
And who is going to explain the actual motion to amend? What the amendments for the record?
There was additional community input on some of the aspects of this plan, and there was some clarification that was requested. And although the changes appear to be verbose, they are really not extensive as far as altering the plan. In fact, they really don't alter the plan in any meaningful way whatsoever. They're merely clarifications and explanations of aspects that were already included. These are, set forth in blue throughout the modified amendment, in addition to the amendments made by the by the planning board, which are within the document as well. Nevertheless, and I would also defer to the councilman and to planning and to the developer here, these changes are not substantial to the extent that, again, it does not meaningfully alter the proposed plan. It just clarifies some matters that might have needed some clarification. The proposed project does not change in any way whatsoever.
Okay. Thank you, Corporation Counsel, very much for that explanation. So the actual amendments are all on the, it's the last attachment on the ordinance. And just like the Corporation Counsel explained, they're in yellow and green and blue. The strikeouts are in yellow, and then it's all explained on the attachment. So with that being said, and they're not substantial changes, so we can move forward with the amendment. And adoption after it's amended. So we had a motion to amend by Councilperson Solomon, seconded by Council President Pro Temp Rivera. On the motion to amend City Ordinance 22-024, Councilperson Ridley.
Aye.
Councilperson Prinzary.
Aye.
Councilperson Bajano.
Aye.
Councilperson Saleh.
Aye.
Councilperson Solomon.
Aye.
Councilperson Gilmore.
Aye.
Councilperson DeGise.
Aye.
And Council President Pro Temp Rivera.
Aye.
Motion carries 8-0 with Council President Waterman absent to amend City Ordinance 22-024. For final consideration and adoption of City Ordinance 22-024 as amended, Councilperson Ridley.
Aye.
Councilperson Prinzary.
Aye.
Councilperson Bajano. Councilperson Saleh.
Aye.
Councilperson Solomon.
Just briefly, I want to thank the Embankment Coalition for putting a lot of time and effort into amendments that significantly strengthened what's before us today. I understand that they have legitimate concerns moving forward, and particularly that the corner of 6th and Marin will not be fully built out as a green space. But I think the amendments they proposed, the work that our city planning officers did in conjunction with the development team, have made that reality significantly more likely to the 99.9% likelihood or close to that number, and that I commit publicly to be extraordinarily vigilant to make sure that that happens and we get the green space on the corner of 6th and Marin. And then the overall changes in the plan add 20,000 square feet of green space to the community that we wouldn't have had before, and accommodate ShopRite, which is a really important long-term anchor for downtown and for all of Jersey City as a place where we all get our groceries. So with that, I think this is a solid step forward, went through a number of revisions to make it better, and with that, I vote aye.
Councilperson Gilmore.
Aye.
Councilperson DeGise.
Aye.
And Council President Pro Tempore Rivera.
Aye.
City Ordinance 22-024 as amended is adopted 8-0 with Council President Waterman absent. On to our next second reading ordinance, item 4.2, City Ordinance 22-031 is an ordinance of the Municipal Council of the City of Jersey City adopting amendments to the Powerhouse Arts District Redevelopment Plan regarding the addition of a conditional permitted use. This is a public hearing on this ordinance. Any member of the public wishing to be heard, please come up to the podium and state your name for the record.
Motion.
Second.
Motion made by Councilperson Bajano to close the public hearing on City Ordinance 22-031 and seconded by Council President Pro Temp Rivera. On the motion to close the public hearing on City Ordinance 22-031, Councilperson Ridley.
Aye.
Councilperson Prinzary.
Aye.
Councilperson Bajano. Councilperson Saleh.
Aye.
Councilperson Solomon.
Aye.
Councilperson Gilmore.
Aye.
Councilperson DeGise.
Aye.
And Council President Pro Temp Rivera.
Aye.
Motion carries 8-0 to close the public hearing on City Ordinance 22-031 with Council President Waterman absent. For final consideration and adoption of City Ordinance 22-031, Councilperson Ridley.
Aye.
Councilperson Prinzary.
Aye.
Councilperson Bajano. Aye. Councilperson Saleh.
Aye.
Councilperson Solomon.
Aye.
Councilperson Gilmore.
Aye.
Councilperson DeGise.
Aye.
And Council President Pro Temp Rivera.
Aye.
City Ordinance 22-031 is adopted 8-0 with Council President Waterman absent. On to our next second reading ordinance, item 4.3, City Ordinance 22-032 is an ordinance supplementing Chapter 332, Vehicles and Traffic, Article 3, Parking, Standing, and Stopping, amending Section 332-24, No Parking Certain Hours on Kearney Avenue in front of 4 Jackson Square. This is a public hearing on this ordinance. Any member of the public wishing to be heard, please come up to the podium and state your name for the record.
Motion.
Second.
Motion made by Council President Pro Temp Rivera to close the public hearing on City Ordinance 22-032 and seconded by Councilperson Bajano. Thank you. On the motion to close the public hearing on City Ordinance 22-032, Councilperson Ridley.
Aye.
Councilperson Prinzary.
Aye.
Councilperson Bajano. Councilperson Saleh.
Aye.
Councilperson Solomon.
Aye.
Councilperson Gilmore.
Aye.
Councilperson DeGise.
Aye.
And Council President Pro Temp Rivera.
Aye.
Motion carries 8-0 to close the public hearing on City Ordinance 22-032 with Council President Waterman absent. For final consideration and adoption of City Ordinance 22-032, Councilperson Ridley.
Aye.
Councilperson Prinzary.
Aye.
Councilperson Baggiano. Councilperson Saleh.
Aye.
Councilperson Solomon.
Aye.
Councilperson Gilmore.
Aye.
Councilperson DeGise.
Aye.
And Council President Pro Temp Rivera.
Aye.
City Ordinance 22-032 is adopted 8-0 with Council President Waterman absent. On to our next second reading ordinance, item 4.4, City Ordinance 22-033 is an ordinance amending and supplementing Chapter 53 Personnel of the Jersey City Municipal Code to require that veterans seeking employment as sworn officers in the Division of Police or Fire need to only demonstrate a bona fide domicile in the City of Jersey City for at least 1 year prior to the date of their qualifying exam.
Sean, can I make a motion to defer this to our next meeting?
Motion to defer.
Okay, so we have a motion to defer City Ordinance 22-033 to the April 27th council meeting. Was made by Councilperson Solomon, and it was seconded by Council President Pro Temp Rivera. On the motion to defer City Ordinance 22-033 to the April 27th meeting, Councilperson Ridley.
Aye.
Councilperson Prinzary.
Aye.
Councilperson Baggiano. Councilperson Saleh.
Aye.
Councilperson Solomon.
Aye.
Councilperson Gilmore.
Aye.
Councilperson DeGise.
Aye.
And Council President Pro Temp Rivera.
Aye.
Motion carries 8-0 to defer City Ordinance 22-033 to the April 27th Municipal Council meeting, with Council President Waterman absent. On to our next second reading ordinance, item 4.5, City Ordinance 22-034, an ordinance of the City of Jersey City and the County of Hudson, New Jersey, providing for various capital improvements for the City of Jersey City and appropriating $131 million, therefore, and providing for the issuance of $124,450,000 in general improvement bonds or notes of the City of Jersey City to finance the same. This is a public hearing on this ordinance. Any member of the public wishing to be heard, please come up to the podium and state your name for the record. Okay, I see Gene Daly. Gene, just give me 1 second to start your time. You're going to be going in 3, 2, 1, go.
Thank you very much. I didn't have time to go over the entire ordinance for this because it is so vast and there's so many pages long. And from what I've known from looking at the spending that this city does, it throws away money left, right, and center. I'm disappointed that we're not given enough time to actually review the documents, maybe ask for additional or supplemental ones, but it's disgusting to me that we can time and time and time again bond for stuff that oftentimes goes to no compete clause bids. And that is very problematic for me because this is something that we do. We waste money and we don't use our budgets judiciously. That's really all I can say about it, and it's a shame that it's happening so quickly. The other thing is that I know in the past bonds and such, where I guess it was the last council meeting where people were plucking extra money that they found from these old bonds and were going to put it into different projects. I really hope this isn't going to happen with this. If you say you're going to do something, do it. Either that or don't do it. So I hope all the budgets are going to be in line, though I'm very disappointed with the process. And again, this is not the way I think a proper city should be run. Thank you.
Motion to close.
This is still a public hearing on City Ordinance 22-034. Any member of the public wishing to be heard, please come up to the podium and state your name for the record.
Motion to close.
Second.
Okay. We have a motion to close the public hearing on City Ordinance 22-034 by Council President Pro Temp Rivera, and a second by Councilperson Prinzary. I am so sorry about that. I got to get the names and the voices together. Come on, Sean, wake up. On the motion to close the public hearing on City Ordinance 22-034, Councilperson Ridley.
Aye.
Councilperson Prinzary.
Aye.
Councilperson Baggiano. Councilperson Saleh.
Aye.
Councilperson Solomon.
Aye.
Councilperson Gilmore.
Aye.
Councilperson DeGise. Is your, you know what it is the mic on?
Yes.
There we go. And Council President Pro Temp Rivera.
Aye.
Motion carries 8-0 to close the public hearing on City Ordinance 22-034, with Council President Waterman absent. For final consideration and adoption of City Ordinance 22-034, Councilperson Ridley.
Aye.
Councilperson Prinzary.
Aye.
Councilperson Baggiano.
Aye, and I agree with Gene. I hope it's used as they say.
Councilperson Saleh.
Aye.
Councilperson Solomon.
I look forward, and I was sitting down with Director of Finance, and I think we had discussed as a council really sitting together. There are a number of items in the capital budget that are unallocated, and really just making sure all 9 of our priorities are really fulfilled through this council capital budget moving forward. And this is the issuance of the bond. It is not the expenditures of the money and the contracts that things like Gene talked about. So they'll all be coming back to us in the future. So, you know, I certainly have had some concerns with this capital budget, but look forward to now starting the conversation, and understood the argument from finance that you guys wanted to move this capital budget forward now, given the likely rise in interest rates coming. So, you know, look forward to all sitting down and really hammering this through and seeing our priorities sort of shine through the budget moving forward. So with that, I vote aye.
Councilperson Gilmore.
Aye.
Councilperson DeGise.
Aye.
And Council President Pro Temp Rivera.
Aye.
City Ordinance 22-034 is adopted 8-0, with Council President Waterman absent. On to our last second reading ordinance, item 4.6, City Ordinance 22-035 is an ordinance adopting amendments to the Water Street Redevelopment Plan regarding property located at Block 20701, Lots 4 and 5, and Block 20704, Lots 1 and 2. This is a public hearing on this ordinance. Any member of the public wishing to be heard, please come up to the podium and state your name for the record.
Good evening, Chris Gadsden.
Second, Chris, I'm sorry.
Don't start the time.
Your time is going to go.
Oh, no, don't do it like that. But
What was that?
no, you're about to start it right now. You know, I think because a lot of people are not here, I think we should just go back to 5 minutes. So, Council President, you know, okay, fine. There's not a lot of people here.
Your time is going to start on 3, 2, 1, go.
All right. I've had the opportunity, I guess, the beginning stages of this Water Street redevelopment. I remember Project 16 Bennett Street. I helped push it through with a tax abatement to get affordable housing in this particular region. I know why this is being done, because they're dedicating a portion of the street back for, they're going to beautify it, they're going to put some trees and all the rest of that stuff, but the expected widening of 440 and everything else, they're doing the city a favor and all the rest of those things. But I just think that the conversation moving forward, especially when, number one, you know, when a company like Katera or Fields, you know, goes bankrupt, you know, contributes heavily, you know, to the mayor's, gubernatorial election fund, and, you know, it just seems as though big-time developers get, you know, a lot. So I know there's a city benefit, and that city benefit, to me, could have been, you know, paid for through, you know, capital improvement programs. You know, you got grants out there, you know, with the participatory that can actually do some benefit, have some benefit in that area. So there's a lot of other ways that the city could have basically beautified that, taken that street, because the whole 440 has to be widened. I mean, that's just not, and I know sometimes we lend in corporate developers, and we ask them to do community favors and things like that. But I just think that this one right here, this, people not paying the payroll tax and everything else, how do we continue to reward people who haven't been responsible? Katerra is also responsible for, going bankrupt, making sure no non-union. So, there's so many things wrong with this company that I understand why they do so much business in Jersey City. I get it, because things are political. I think moving forward inside of the area, whether it be water, whether it be Cove, redevelopment, so when Panapinto and everyone else is in NJ Transit territory, I just think that we have to ensure that affordable housing is inside of the area of the West Side, because affordable housing have not been built in over, besides the project at 16 Bennett, in decades. And so we have to do, a lot better. So moving forward in that NJ Transit land, that I know it has to be deeded somewhere, that there has to be at least 20% affordable housing in there. We have to ensure that affordable housing is built along, the West Side. So thank you.
Thank you very much. This is still a public hearing on City Ordinance 22-035. Just give me 1 second. I don't know why that's not resetting. Okay. I see Gene Daly. Your time is going to start on my countdown. You're going in 3, 2, 1, go.
Again, I really didn't have time to look at all of the attachments to this, but what concerns me is that you're transferring density or height or square footage to a project where I think at that point, if this is coming afterwards, the IZO should be triggered. There should be affordable housing if you're now granting this extra square feet. I don't know if it's obviously going to go in height, but I think it's once again, to think that a developer could all of a sudden access another how many floors and stories without triggering that IZO is really a travesty, and that's what it seems to me. But unless someone else could answer that for me, no. Does anybody know if the IZO is going to kick in, or is it just everyone getting just a blank?
Gene, if you want to just go on with your time, we have somebody here who can address some of your questions.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah.
Sounds great. Thank you very much, Mira. Thank you.
Okay, this is still a public hearing on City Ordinance 22-035. Any member of the public wishing to be heard, please come up to the podium and state your name for the record. Okay.
Good evening, Council. My name is Jim McCann. I'm here on behalf of the proponent of this ordinance, which is a company called 100 Water Street. Just let me clear up a couple of things. Katerra is not the developer of this project. Katerra went out of business over a year ago, and they never had an interest in this project, not for 1 minute since 2015 when this project was first conceived. It has always been solely Fields Development, which is a development company that's existed in Hoboken and Jersey City for the past 25, 30, 40 years. So Katerra has nothing to do with this project. That's totally misguided, incorrect information. Fields did not, as of 2020, they did not, and some of you were on the council, they owed some payroll taxes. But after that was brought up over a year ago, I can assure you, and I have the proof with me, that they have paid every single quarter whatever payroll taxes they owed. So that hopefully is no longer an issue. They realized they had made a mistake and they have fixed it. So that's not an issue. As to the IZO, I gave this council my opinion at the caucus that the IZO is not triggered because it's a transfer of floor area. This project is not asking for any additional floor area. The floor area is already there on the property that we refer to as the fruit farm property. That floor area is already there. We're just asking the council to move it across the street in exchange for the dedication of those two properties and the development of Water Street along that whole entire block, the rehabilitation of Water Street. So that's the factual components that I hope you will take into consideration. I did have a conversation with Mr. Baker. I hope he can concur with me that the IZO does not apply to this particular ordinance.
I don't want to trample on your speaking time, Chip, but
I'm done, unless the council has questions of me, which I'll be happy to answer any more questions.
okay, so I was made aware when this came back on the agenda at the last meeting. I was not there, unfortunately. Nevertheless, we did analyze the question internally and reached the conclusion that this was presented to the planning board in November of 2020. Now, you recall there was a previous IZO that was invalidated by the court in August of 2020, and this council adopted a new, currently applicable IZO in December. Nevertheless, even taken under the analysis of the current IZO, this would not trigger the requirements because it is simply a shift of floor area from one location on the property to another. There's no net addition of any floor area. Therefore, the IZO would not be triggered.
Yes. How many units again is here?
Well, so we don't know how many units because there's no design yet, but it's 93,000 square feet is being transferred from the one site to the other.
And the developer can't find it nowhere, and it's hard to do no amount affordable.
I'm sorry, Councilman, I didn't hear that.
The developer can't find it nowhere, and it's hard, even though it don't trigger the IZOs to do no amount affordable, no workforce, nothing.
So this would be a market rate project?
So that's the answer is no.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Thank you.
Any other questions of me, council? Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
This is still a public hearing on City Ordinance 22-035. Any member of the public wishing to be heard, please come up to the podium and state your name for the record.
Motion to close.
Motion to close the public hearing on City Ordinance 22-035 was made by Council President Pro Temp Rivera. May I have a second?
Aye.
Second made by
Second.
Councilperson DeGise. To close the public hearing on City Ordinance 22-035, Councilperson Ridley.
Aye.
Councilperson Prinzeri.
Aye.
Councilperson Baggiano. Councilperson Saleh.
Aye.
Councilperson Solomon.
Aye.
Councilperson Gilmore.
Aye.
Councilperson DeGise.
Aye.
And Council President Pro Temp Rivera.
Aye.
Motion to close the public hearing on City Ordinance 22-035 carries 8-0 with Council President Waterman absent. For final consideration and adoption of City Ordinance 22-035, Councilperson Ridley.
Aye.
Councilperson Prinzeri.
Just a couple of things to touch on here. This came before council just over a year ago. There were questions about whether or not it was going to trigger the IZO at the time. So I asked it to be tabled so we could investigate that. Because if the IZO were to apply, we would apply it. The planning board recommended the plans. They still recommend the plans. To Mr. Gadsden's point, the 16 Bennett was one of the last projects to get affordable in this part of this city, but they were doing that with a 20-year tax abatement. We're not considering tax abatements now, so that tool is no longer, unfortunately or fortunately, in our toolkit. However, I will say that Bayfront is still in part of Ward B. That's going to be 35% affordable, a little ways off, but that's a major coup for the city when that happens. With University Place, which is right on the border of A and B, I worked with Councilwoman Ridley to get 5% affordable when the developer came in to ask for additional density, and we did that without a tax abatement. So to say that no affordable is being built in this area is quite frankly false. There are also all of the plans that never come to council because Ward B has one of the smallest area of redevelopment plans. And just for those of you who may or may not know, the only things that come to council for us to consider are amendments to redevelopment plans like this project here, or at one point in time, tax abatements. So there are projects through the ward that have gone to the planning board and gone to the zoning board that have affordable in it. They just don't come to council. So I just want to be clear about that point. To say that nothing's been built or nothing's going to be built is really a false statement. Now, for this current project with that little strip that used to be 440 Farms, what is happening there is the property's been purchased. They're taking the floor area ratio to go on top. This area is zoned by FAR, and this is one of my challenges with this particular redevelopment plan because this can't happen. So it is not additional density in the technical term, but they are able to move it. What they are getting, though, is something that's going to address issues that I've been dealing with constituents for 4 years now. When 440 Farms closed, we saw an uptick in criminal activity along Water Street. We had to close the street because we could not police it to make sure that there wasn't drug activity and prostitution, which is not good for the neighborhood. So what this plan is doing is instead of building something there, they are going to be building approximately 40 public parking places. This is not for the new development. This is for the public and for the residents in the area, which they've asked me about repeatedly because parking is an issue across the entirety of the city. We all know that. They're going to be putting in storm flood mitigation in this area. For anybody that lives down there, travels down there on 440 when it rains, it floods. That's a huge problem down there. It's going to address that issue. There's going to be additional landscaping. There's going to be additional lighting, which is going to make the area safer. And the 2 community meetings we had about this, one when it was proposed last year and another one this year from residents in the area, from the Homeowners Association, the Block Association, they're all in favor of this because it is going to make their neighborhoods safer. One of the big issues, too, when you're on 440, you're coming down the street, you commit a crime, boom, you're right on 440, bang, you can go over to 19, you can go to Newark, you can go to wherever you need to go to avoid whatever it is you're going to do. So do I love the plan? It's not perfect, but it's giving the residents something that they need. Do I wish that IZO would apply? Yes. That's why I'm working with the planning department to make some changes to 440 and to Culver and to Water Street redevelopment projects to make sure that that's going to happen because it is an issue. And I agree 100% that it's an issue. Now, the final piece of this, and I'm sorry, I'm trying to be brief, but the other piece of this is that this land is getting dedicated back to the city, which doesn't sound like a big deal now, but the improvements they're going to be putting in are over $1 million. The estimated value of the land is just around $1 million. So you could say maybe they're going to do it no matter what. I can't speculate on that, but what I do know is 5 years from now, 3 years from now, 10 years from now, should there be a taking, that property could potentially cost the city $3, $4, $5 million. That we, the taxpayers, will have to pay. With this rededication, it becomes a wash. So with that, I vote aye.
Councilperson Baggiano. You got to put the mic on. Nope. Still can't hear you.
Not going on, okay. I'll go along with it because of Mira, but I also want to tell Mira, keep an eye on the 2 developers that I know Katera doesn't exist anymore. They were in my neighborhood and Fields was in my neighborhood, and we had a lot of problems with both of them. So, but I'll say aye for now.
Councilperson Saleh.
I think the plan makes sense. You know, the way the building is currently, awkwardly sandwiched in between the 2 roads, I think really doesn't service the community. So putting it, adding it to the building that they are going to build and relinquishing that parcel to the city to widen 440 is a good idea. Do I wish that there was more affordability? Yes. In terms of triggering the inclusionary zoning ordinance, maybe we should look into that. But I also know, you can't really develop your way into having enough affordable units. Like, you can't rely just on developers. The city needs to take the onus as well. Even if you have 20% affordability, we don't have enough affordable units across the city. But I do believe this plan makes sense, and I vote aye.
Councilperson Solomon.
I vote aye.
Councilperson Gilmore.
I just want to, just so the record reflects, the principal owners of 100 Water Street is who? Because you're saying that criteria is not connected, and then people are saying, I don't know personally, so if we could just get clarity as it relates to the principal owners of 100 Water Street LLC.
Jim, come to the mic.
So the principals of 100 Water Street LLC are the Caulfields, Rob and James Caulfield. They are no longer associated with Katerra in any way, shape, or form, and this project was never associated with Katerra since its very beginning. It was always just Fields Development, Jim and Rob Caulfield.
Okay. You can have a seat. I just want to clarify for the record. This is, oh my goodness, this is a hard one right here because when we talk about the community givebacks, it's subsequently benefiting the developer as well. Oh my God, for the life of me, I just can't understand how we can go up and move density and it doesn't trigger the IZO. But Mayor, she have met with the community. She's had several meetings with the community. I trust that she's representing everything that was articulated in that community. So in that, I'm gonna vote. I vote aye. But like Rich said, we just have to be very cognizant of past behaviors, making sure we don't repeat mistakes that we made in the past. So I'll vote aye.
Councilperson DeGise.
Aye.
And Council President Pro Temp Rivera.
Aye.
City Ordinance 22-035 is adopted 8-0 with Council President Waterman absent. Council members, as discussed at the caucus, before we go on to our public speakers, we did discuss a motion to remove Ordinance 22-029 from the tabled agenda. We do have all of the notices by certified mail that were sent out to all the property owners within 200 feet. So we are able to remove this from the table agenda if you choose to do so and vote to either adopt or defeat. So may I have a motion to remove City Ordinance 22-029 from the tabled agenda?
Motion.
Motion made by Councilperson Solomon.
Second.
Seconded by Councilperson Saleh. On the motion to remove City Ordinance 22-029 from the tabled agenda, Councilperson Ridley.
Aye.
Councilperson Prinzary.
Aye.
Councilperson Baggiano. Councilperson Saleh.
Aye.
Councilperson Solomon.
Aye.
Councilperson Gilmore.
Aye.
Councilperson DeGise.
Aye.
And Council President Pro Temp Rivera.
Aye.
Motion carries 8-0 to remove City Ordinance 22-029 from the tabled agenda with Council President Waterman absent. So just for the record, I'll read the ordinance into the record. So this is Ordinance 22-029 is an ordinance of the Jersey City Municipal Council of the City of Jersey City vacating a portion of Commercial Street from the intersection of Cave and Point Avenue and the New Jersey Turnpike overpass. A public hearing was conducted, and this ordinance was tabled after close of the public hearing, so we're going to move right for consideration for final adoption of City Ordinance 22-029.
Council President Pro Tem and City Clerk, because we hadn't talked, this is coming back, and I don't remember all the details. Is the ward council person comfortable with this? I don't remember whose ward this is in.
Yes, this is.
In your ward?
This is the, where the bridge, this is Commercial Street?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, I just wanted to clarify before we voted.
We could take the vote.
Okay, so for final consideration and adoption of City Ordinance 22-029, Councilperson Ridley.
Aye.
Councilperson Prinzary.
Aye.
Councilperson Baggiano. Councilperson Saleh.
Aye.
Councilperson Solomon.
Aye.
Councilperson Gilmore.
Aye.
Councilperson DeGise.
Aye.
And Council President Pro Temp Rivera.
Aye.
City Ordinance 22-029 is adopted 8-0 with Council President Waterman absent. Okay, we're going to move on to our public speaking portion of the meeting. Our first speaker, I do not see here, is item 5.1, Laverne Washington. She is not here. Next, 5.2, Sarah Hitchcock. Sarah? She's not here. 5.3, Hamel Vyas. I'm sorry, come on up. If I mispronounce your last name, I apologize.
You got it right. Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Can I go?
May start.
Okay. So, good evening, respected council members. My name is Hemel Vyas, and I'm the chair of the Jersey City Immigration Affairs Commission. I was an inaugural appointee by the mayor in January 2017, and I've served as chair for almost 3 years now. The Immigration Affairs Commission is charged with advising City Council on taking action that is relevant to our immigrant community, which ultimately results in the betterment of Jersey City. Many of you have supported our resolutions in the past, and on behalf of AIC, we thank you for your support. I'm here today to ask you to support the resolution to declare April 14th, Dr. B.R. Ambedkar's birthday as Equality Day. As the resolution reads, Dr. Ambedkar is one of the framers of the Indian Constitution. Due to his personal experience of belonging to a community often referred to as Dalits or untouchables, who are often mistreated and disenfranchised, Dr. Ambedkar was a visionary. He wanted to ensure equality for all future generations. He dedicated his life fighting the segregation, stigma, and discrimination, and was committed to achieve equality and justice for peoples of all castes, races, genders, religions, and backgrounds. He was a jurist, an economist, a socioeconomic reformer, a civil rights leader, a spiritual icon, a freedom fighter, and a feminist. His slogan, educate, agitate, organize, mobilized millions around the world to organize against discrimination and promote universal equality and human rights. Jersey City Council has an opportunity to honor his inspirational legacy. Jersey City's values are aligned with everything he fought for and stands for, advancing equality and justice for all. This is even more significant as we watch civil unrest unfold in many parts of the world. America continues to be a beacon of light, and as we welcome the fleeing refugees from Ukraine and Afghanistan to their new homes, whereas immigrants, they will be equal in this free land. By honoring Dr. Ambedkar's life, Jersey City can reaffirm the principles of equality, justice, and liberty. I thank you for your time and look forward to this resolution being passed. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, our next speaker, 5.4, Elizabeth Marie. Elizabeth? Not here. Jean Daly? Okay, Jean.
Oh, okay.
I'm going to give him one more countdown.
All right, thank you. I'm ready to go. Okay, thank you very much. I'm just going to be bouncing around a little bit. I hope it's easy to follow what I'm trying to say. But I do know a couple of weeks back when I spoke to the ladies on the council about what they might do to help June Jones, especially because as a woman of color, she was abruptly taken off of a project that she had worked on with her community for so many years, or a number of years. And the information that was coming from the Jersey City Redevelopment Authority was incorrect. And from what I understand, nothing has happened. And I am disappointed because we know actions have consequences, but so do inactions. People turning aside when there's an issue, people running away, people want to close their eyes, close their ears, and they say, it's not my fault. It is your fault for not stepping up to the plate and doing what's right. Another issue I'm going to be bouncing back and forth with is about what's going on in Exchange Place, or what will be going on in Exchange Place. The Exchange Place Alliance will be putting forth to the planning board their rendition of what they want in Exchange Place Plaza. As you know, that board is run by Mike DeMarco. When he was a member of Matt Calley, he and his firm, or he donated $250,000 to Phillip's campaign. I am incensed by the plan that he's putting forward because Exchange Place Plaza is our plaza. He does not want any celebrations there at all. This is an offense to the city, an offense to all the communities who used to gather down there, because it really should be our cultural Exchange Place Plaza. That's what that plaza means to us. And yet there's one man by the name of Mike DeMarco, and everyone's cowing down, and they're so afraid of him. If you've seen the design that's going to be coming up, it's an abomination. The entire front of the statue, well, he called it gruesome and wanted to get rid of it. Well, now he blocks the whole front of it. Like the gathering that was there last weekend, you're not going to be able to stand in front of that monument ever again. You got to see it from behind. So if you look at this plan, I am so frustrated with this man who has continually lied. He stated that they had planning board approval and DEP approval. Lie. They don't have it. Either one. He also states we met with community members. What community members? He hasn't met with anybody. All he does is allow people who go to their meetings make 3 sentences. He said he's met with the Polish community. That is wrong. A select
Thank
group.
you.
Thank you very much.
Gene, the Exchange Place belongs to all the people of Jersey City. And last week at that meeting, I made all the Polish people aware of what's going to happen. And they're ready to come in and fight.
Okay, our next speaker, 5.6, Oscar Lacra. Oscar? Oscar is not here. Next speaker, 5.7, Chris Gatson.
Thank you again. I mean, like Mr. McCann probably left, you know, Katerra acquired Fields Construction back in 2018 and acquired all of their projects here in Jersey City. So for him to say now that 100 Water Street is with Cove, Rob, and everyone else, I'm very familiar with them because when 16 Bennett Street was developed, Jeff White was the developer, and Fields helped build it. And he specifically said that, and Rob was right there, he said, that project across the street is ours. So I don't know what Mr. McCann is talking about, but I do follow stuff. And for him to say tonight that Fields Construction, now 100 Water Street, and the same principal owners are the same people, like, that's very disingenuous. And that's, you know, he almost called me a liar. That's a lie, okay? But I didn't come to speak about that, you know, for this public speaking comments. I came to speak about just 2 particular pieces of legislation that I think are just phenomenal first steps. So I want to thank Director Flanagan and Councilman Danny, you know, for just listening and taking these first steps to hold smoke shops accountable, actually getting them registered so that we can do the first step in trying to enforce some of the illegal, crazy products that they sell, and so that we can get these corporations and these businesses out of business relatively fast so we can make way for real revenue to come in for all these people who want to open up, you know, and make a lot of money and bring tax revenue for cannabis and get rid of these stupid mom and pop shops that are poisoning our children. I'm definitely all in favor of that. And so thank you again for, you know, the hard work, whatever, on that. I also just want to give a big shout out and just credit, because school funding has been an issue. It's been something to mind, whether it be me and Rich and Michael Yoon trying to share pilot payments, and then whatever fighting to help Senator Cunningham and everyone else to help get the payroll tax here in Jersey City. And now just to begin the conversation of exploring the idea of how much revenue can be produced by an income tax here in Jersey City, because we want to reduce the burden on tax property owners, you know, because only a few property owners pay for everything else that's in the city. And if we can spread that out amongst everybody else so they can have a share in the public education, I'm so excited for this first step. So I thank you for that. And that's all I really have to say, because I only had 10 seconds left. Stay blessed.
Thank you. Okay, next speaker, 5.8, Hani Aldelo. Hani? Oh, okay, very good. Okay.
My issue is this.
Just, Hani, if you can just make sure the mic is right by your mouth. You can leave the mask on if you wish, but the mic has to be closer to your mouth.
Thanks so much.
The mic, the mic.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah. Actually, my name is Mohammed. I'm here for Hani. Hani's sick, so he can come. My issue is that I'm in. Yeah. Oh, thank you very much.
Much better, thank you.
I am in food. I'm a food vendor. I have a food truck. I started the business in Jersey City about 2010. I was here the only guy by myself, and I had a lot of problems moving. There was the location, Marin and the Columbus was empty around the best train station now. There was nobody there. I was in the corner, and Mr. Habi, the health department commissioner at that time, or the responsible for the health department, moved me around from back to forth, and finally I was in the corner. I was there for 12 years, and the truck got broken, so I got another truck for my family to help me. So I don't know why in this new rules that they put, or the new truck spots that they put, they did not include me. I had some little issues on one truck, and all was before the judge. And somebody somehow made it like I had a huge problem because of these issues. It was scheduled to see the judge. And now I have no place to be at, and I have two trucks. I've been in business here. I have very good recipe. I have very good special sauce that if you ask anybody what Sahara Grill would be, everybody knows Sahara Grill for a very long time around this neighborhood. Thank you very much, and I hope you can help me.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, our next speaker, 5.9, Luz Guzman. Okay.
Hello. Can you hear me? Oh, yeah, too much. Okay. Good evening, council members. My name is Luz Guzman. I am with the Jersey City Environmental Commission. We are a 7-board appointed by the mayor.
Luz, can you just bring it down closer to you, the mic?
The mic, yep, there you go.
Thanks.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
I'll start again. My name is Luz Guzman. I am a member of the Jersey City Environmental Commission. We are a 7-member board appointed by the mayor. I want to talk about the resolution that we have presented, it was just yesterday, 22-290, regarding urging the state of New Jersey to hold fossil fuel companies accountable for climate change adaptation and resilience course. I know that one person is objecting. I mean, we all use cars, but the point is we also have a lot of costs behind the damages that Sandy has done, that Ida has done. The money should come from the companies that knew, these big oil companies knew that fossil fuel was detrimental to the planet. So we want to join the movement. There are many other states, there are municipalities that are suing themselves. The place I think of right now is Hoboken, and we know that there was a lot of damage. So to pass this resolution, again, to urge the governor to get the money from these companies and make them accountable. And again, I'd like to thank, and I understand that Councilwoman Prince Ari and Councilman Solomon have passed a similar resolution. So I have high hopes that this resolution will also pass. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Okay, our next speaker, 5.10, Santo Della Monica. Santo? Nope. Okay, next speaker, 5.11, June Jones. Not here. And our last speaker, 5.12, Philip Carrington. Somebody left their cell phone? Thank you, Philip. Ready when you are.
Ready.
Go.
Members of the City Council and to the moderator of record, Gallagher, I am Philip Carrington. My continued statements are that the vaccines were never needed. I made comparisons and statements and haven't had a response because there's no response. Then you look back in retrospect. I say that if you take the vaccines, you get the survival rates from 88 to 94.7% or 94.5%. If you don't take the vaccine, your survival rate is 97.7. So the vaccine then is not needed. Last week, I say that the Pfizer booster shot, also called the BNT162b2, is a secret government experimentation, and I offer $5,000 for anyone who can prove different. Well, Pfizer is running ads right now admitting that the vaccines, all of them, are human experimentation. That's not a guess, that's a statement of fact. So I'm asking now again tonight, what is the purpose for vaccinating our children? If you look at the study done, of the biometric data of children done by the CDC, it says that children under the age of 18 who have contracted the coronavirus and was not vaccinated, their survival rate is 99.998. They say that children are more likely to die from the flu than from the coronavirus. If you read the New England Journal of Medicine, in all new therapeutic, there are three perspectives. Number one, is it safe? Number two, does it work? Number three, is it needed? Given the biometric data of children by the CDC, the vaccine is not needed. Never in history of mankind has there ever been 1, 2, or 3, or even 4 vaccines in 1 year for the same virus. Excuse me if I say this, but if I had used 3 condoms all at one time and they all still get a virus, the condom doesn't work. Well, is it safe? We just have to ask the question, really, is it safe? In the late 1970s, the swine flu vaccine killed 53 people, and it was pulled because it was unsafe. According to the government record, the vaccine kills 28 people every day. It made 460,000 people ill this far. The vaccine just is not safe. And so no one has the right to compel anyone to be part of a human experimentation. And that's what the mandate is, and that's what it all is. If a person chooses to, so be it. But if you take the vaccine, any one of you, you are a part of the study. Whether you accept it, whether you plan to it or not, that is a statement of a fact.
Thank you, Mr. Carrington.
I'm Phil Carrington. That's my viewpoint. Good night.
Okay. On to our petitions and communications, items 6.1 through 6.23. Any questions or comments? Next is our officer communications, items 7.1 through 7.8. Any questions or comments? We have one report of directors, 8.1. Any questions or comments? Right, moving right along to our claims and addendum number 1. Okay, council members, claims and addendum number 1. Councilperson Ridley.
Aye.
Councilperson Prinzary.
Aye.
Councilperson Baggiano. Councilperson Saleh.
Aye.
Councilperson Solomon.
Aye.
Councilperson Gilmore.
Aye.
Councilperson DeGise.
Aye.
And Council President Pro Temp Rivera.
Aye.
Claims and addendum number 1 are approved 8-0, with Council President Waterman absent. Okay, council members, on to our resolutions. I'm going to be taking a vote on items 10.1 through 10.11. Again, it's items 10.1 through 10.11. Councilperson Ridley.
Aye.
Councilperson Prinzary.
Aye for all.
Councilperson Baggiano. Councilperson Saleh.
Aye.
Councilperson Solomon.
Aye.
Councilperson Gilmore.
Aye.
Councilperson DeGise.
Aye.
And Council President Pro Temp Rivera.
Aye.
Items 10.1 through 10.11 are adopted 8-0 with Council President Waterman absent. On to our next set of resolutions, items 10.12 through 10.21. Again, that's items 10.12 through 10.21. Councilperson Ridley.
Sean,
Yes.
before you, excuse me, Denise.
Sure.
Before we take the vote, I just wanted to reiterate again on 10.12, the idea behind the feasible study, again, is just a study. And once we receive that information as a council, then we will be armed with what direction we should go as it relates to a threshold or how we going to implement the tax and things like that. So I just wanted to, put that on the record so that we all clear on what exactly we're asking for. And again, ultimately, the state can actually say they're not doing it, and it's something that have to go through the Assembly and then through the Senate. But I just believe we have to do our due diligence to, take steps in the right direction to make sure our kids are taken care of.
Yeah. Gilmore, I told you I would change my mind. What? Oh. All right, okay, no mind. I'm just answering this question.
Good? Are we good?
Yeah, he'll just make his comment when he votes.
Okay. So on items 10.12 through 10.21, Councilperson Ridley.
I spoke with Councilman Gilmore earlier today on 1012. He helped me to get a better understanding of what he was proposing. I don't believe in double taxing people, but part of the reason that he said he would like to do this study is to see if the raise in taxes is necessary, or would we be able to try this income tax and spread it amongst all the residents besides just the property owners. So since it is just a study, and I think it's worth looking into, I'll vote aye for all.
Councilperson Prinzeri.
So just for 1012, my question still stands with caucus, having a better understanding of residents who live in Jersey City and work out of state and how that may affect the numbers. And again, I think that for our children, we should look at all options, but also as a suggestion to the councilman, you may want to start having conversations with some of our state assembly and senators if you've not already done so. I would imagine any action would take that. That's what we had to go through with the payroll tax, and that took quite some time. So just a suggestion to fellow council colleague, start those conversations now. With that, aye for all.
Councilperson Baggiano.
Gilmore, I told you I would say yes for a study, but I just want to let you know one thing. How many people from the Department of the Treasury live here in Jersey City? And once again, I'm going to reiterate, we had 3 laws passed since 1976 funding education, and none of them have been fulfilled. So I don't care what they come out with. The people have had enough with the taxes and enough with the 1% or anything. And I told you, Joyce Waterman and I were appointed to the Board of Education to sit down with them to talk about the financial needs. And the Board of Education never got back to either one of us, I believe.
And your vote, Councilperson Baggiano?
Oh, yes, for a study.
That's yes for all?
Yes.
Councilperson Saleh?
Yes.
Okay, Councilperson Saleh.
Aye for all, with the exception of 1012. I don't see, even if, the feasibility study came out, that residents could stomach this, especially at this time. I think our efforts are best spent talking to our state legislative representatives, regarding repatriating the funds that were cut, but the state received CARES Act funding, and as a stipulation of that CARES Act funding from the federal government, they weren't supposed to cut funding to at-need districts. So the state needs to repatriate those funds for at least 2 years, and we should be lobbying the Department of Education on the federal level and also the state level to make sure they give us that money back. And we also need to look at cannabis funding and how we're going to use the recreational sales tax, because that's a conversation we should be having right now. And furthermore, we need to hold not just ourselves accountable, but the Board of Ed accountable, and we need to look internally at cost-saving measures. I do know that you brought this, with every ounce of good, and there is a sense of urgency that we have to do something. I know in my heart I can't vote for this, but I do respect the effort and respect, my council colleagues and their votes as well.
So you're voting no on 1012 and aye on the rest, okay. Councilperson Solomon.
Voting aye for all, and then I want to thank Councilman Gilmore for moving this issue forward. There is a long, rigorous study process to determine whether this type of an income tax would be advisable in general, and specifically to help on school funding. But I think what's really important is being proactive and driving a conversation around how we fund our public schools and getting creative around ways in which to do it that do not entirely fall on the backs of taxpayers. It's why we did the payroll tax back in 2018, but we know the payroll tax is insufficient given the extraordinary volume of cuts that are coming. So I think we should welcome the conversation. None of us are committing to do this by this vote tonight, but it's important to take proactive steps, and the councilman has done that, and so I thank him for that. With that, I vote aye.
Councilperson Gilmore.
Sean, we're going from 12, I lost track, from 12 to...
We're going from items 10.12 to 10.21, which is Resolution 22-268.
I vote aye for all.
Thank you. Councilperson DeGise.
Aye on all.
And Council President Pro Temp Rivera.
I vote aye on all, but I just want to make a comment on 1012. And I actually appreciate, the councilman highlighting this because I just want to, touch up on what Councilman Boggiano said. I'm part of that group that we were appointed for the Board of Education, and we met, and we're kind of like still in purgatory because we haven't heard from them anymore. So highlighting, doing this resolution, actually highlighting it and start a structure, I think actually, once we vote on this, I think we're going to get those phone calls back to the meeting and take us out of purgatory so that we could know what's going on. So I think it's an excellent resolution so that we can start a research and to gauge into some sort of communication. So with that, I vote aye on everything.
Okay, just to recap, item 10.12 is approved 7-1 with Councilperson Saleh voting no. Items 10.13 through 10.21 are approved 8-0 with all items with Council President Waterman absent. Okay, on to our next set of resolutions, items 10.22 through 10.32. Again, that's items 10.22 through 10.32. Councilperson Ridley.
Aye.
Councilperson Prinzary.
Aye for all.
Councilperson Boggiano. Aye. Councilperson Saleh.
Aye.
Councilperson Solomon.
Aye.
Councilperson Gilmore.
Aye.
Councilperson DeGise.
Aye.
And Council President Pro Temp Rivera.
Aye.
Items 10.22 through 10.32 are approved 8-0 with Council President Waterman absent. For the balance of our resolutions, items 10.33 through 10.45. 10.45, just for the record, is the late item that was added earlier. It's Resolution 22-292, is a resolution authorizing a closed session of the Municipal Council on April 20th, 2022 at 3:30 p.m. to discuss personnel-related matters. On items 10.33 to 10.45, Councilperson Ridley.
Aye.
Councilperson Prinzary.
For 1041, congratulations to St. Peter's. It's been a big couple of weeks with you guys, now with your 150th anniversary. For 1042, as a fellow member of the Immigrant Affairs Commission, I want to thank Hamal Bias for coming to represent us, and also to Swati Katil, who really pushed this forward to celebrate Equality Day. And if you are all available on April 16th, please join us here at City Hall for that celebration. For 1043 to the the Environmental Commission, we look forward to working with you on this a potential opportunity to have the polluters pay for things that we as cities are doing to remediate stormwater management and things like that. And then for 1044, congratulations to A. Harry Moore for their centennial celebration, which was last year, which was not celebrated, but for being a leader in educating our children with special needs across the state. Aye for all.
Councilperson Baggiano.
No on 1043, as I said the other night, when all our council people and everybody else stops driving cars, stops heating their houses, then maybe we can go along with something like that, because I think it's totally ridiculous. And yes on all the rest.
Okay. Councilperson Saleh.
I still have questions for 1034, so I'm going to abstain on that one, and for the rest, I vote aye.
That's 10.34 that you're abstaining on, sir?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Councilperson Solomon.
Yeah, I'm going to vote no on 1034, vote aye on all the rest. I also want to thank the Environmental Commission for moving forward the resolution to hold fossil fuel companies accountable. I think it's an important step and appreciate their partnership and part of a broader movement to hold trillion-dollar corporations, I assume they're $1 trillion, for the same types of lies and deception that the tobacco and opioid companies engaged in to profit off of human misery. And I think that's it. Thanks.
Thank you. Councilperson Gilmore.
I just have a question for, I guess, John or Peter. I don't know if it's a misprint here, but yesterday, according to my notes, they said we had administered 13,000 tests, but on here it says 5,063. So is there a difference? And we got an email earlier from Kevin, and it's basically saying that we administered 5,063 tests in 24 days. Is that accurate?
Yeah, Councilman. So that number is for that emergency contract specific. So the 13 is the overall encompassing total volume of testing that was administered.
So for the $1 million, how many tests did we administer? For 1,097,000, how many tests did we administer? Excuse me if I'm delaying anybody, but I just need to make sure that these numbers are indicative of what's being stated.
So I'll take this time while we're getting the answer to wish everybody a very happy Easter and spend good quality time with your families.
And Sean, can I add Ramadan Mubarak and then happy Passover for on Friday?
Very nice.
Absolutely.
Councilman, I have that number. So it's 5,500 tests administered by the entity, an additional 10,000 at-home tests that were distributed citywide.
Okay,
So it's 15,500 total.
15,500 total, right? All right, so I'm looking at another document that was sent.
Councilperson Gilmore, just when you're speaking, just make sure you're speaking into the mic.
Excuse me.
I know you have a lot of real estate over there.
And I'm looking at this other rapid test, PODs. Does the number 12 reflect the number of tests that was conducted on that day?
Councilman, which document are you referring to? I'll come take a look.
Yeah, it's rapid testing PODs.
Correct, Councilman. So these are the pods. These are the site locations that were set up from the company. Pods are essentially where we had on-site officials administering tests. So this is 12 pod locations.
So 12 pod.
12 pod locations, sorry, Councilman, 12 pod locations at 9.5 hours, and they're $575 per hour.
That's why when I was asking for the data, I wanted to specifically know within these 12 locations, how many people were tested on that day? Because they're charging $65,000 for one day. It's almost $400,000 for 7 days for testing. And then when we look at the number, you have 10,000 at home, and then you only have 5,000 in person. Am I speaking correctly, or am I misrepresenting?
Correct. The hourly cost includes the medical director of the testing operation, the call center, the vendor management, the online software, and the individuals administering the test and the test itself. So it's all encompassing.
How many actual people went into those 12 pods and got tested on that particular day where they charged us $65,000?
Councilman, I don't have that information in front of me, but I'll be able to provide it.
See, this is a huge deal. This is like spent $1 million in 24 days. And then we don't have the supporting documents to show. We have requested time and time, and this is not directly towards you. I'm just frustrated in the amount of money we're spending on these tests, and we don't have accurate data. It's 6 people at a testing site. It's 6 people at one testing site. So I'm trying to see how many people were tested. 4,500 and some odd people was tested in 24 days. We can do the math to get close to a roundabout to see.
Yeah, Councilman, the information I provided through my office was solely just kind of connecting the 12 PDF documents that were presented prior. I was just trying to get a FAQ, so to speak. So
yes.
Can we pull this? Or
yes, I think it's
well, we're in the middle of a vote already, but
Yep.
So we can,
So at this point, we're voting for it. You can either vote yea or nay.
but there's no way to pull this. John, is there any to dive deep? I mean, because when we're looking at these spending, and then we don't have the supporting documents, the question we're asking, this is serious stuff here.
yeah, I understand, Councilman. Just we did provide ample information that was then consolidated into this report that I did on yesterday, and the tests were administered and billed appropriately.
I understand, but you can't tell me the exact amount of productivity we got as it relates to testing for $65,000 for 5 consecutive days.
Well, I have the number of tests, the site locations, the hourly rate for the sites, and all the administration fees and costs that were associated with each site. I don't have each particular site and how many tests.
Yeah, this is wrong on so many levels, and I hope anyone is. This is crazy. I vote no 3 times on 34, and I vote aye on the rest. This is bad business. This makes us look bad as a municipality, and it's just wrong on so many levels.
Councilperson DeGise
Aye.
and Council President Pro Temp Rivera.
Aye.
Okay, if you can just allow me to recap. Item 10.33 is approved 8-0 with Council President Waterman absent. Item 10.34 is approved 5 to 1, with Councilperson Saleh abstaining, and Council Members Solomon and Gilmore voting no, and Council President Waterman absent. Items 10.35 through 10.42 are approved 8-0, with Council President Waterman absent. Item 10.43 is approved 7-1, with Councilperson Bajano voting no, and Council President Waterman absent. Item 10.44 through 10.45 is approved 8-0, with Council President Waterman absent. If no one has anything else to add, may I have a motion to adjourn at 7:33 p.m.? Motion was made by Council President Pro Temp Rivera, seconded by Councilperson Saleh. On the motion to adjourn at 7:33 p.m., Councilperson Ridley.
Aye.
Councilperson Prinzary.
Aye.
Councilperson Bajano. Councilperson Saleh.
Aye.
Councilperson Solomon.
Aye.
Councilperson Gilmore.
Aye.
Councilperson DeGise.
Aye.
And Council President Pro Temp Rivera.
Aye.
Motion carries 8-0 to adjourn at 7:33 p.m. with Council President Waterman absent. Thank you very much, everyone. And again, happy holidays to everyone. And again, teamwork makes the dream work. Have a great night. Stay safe, everyone.